Are we ready for our talkback segment?
I think we should dive right into them. Yeah, I think it's time. It's we've got a number today, and it's good to have some of these voices back. A lot of these students, these are all new students. A lot of the teachers have been with us in the past and continue to send along some great information. Funding for our Phenology talkbacks are provided in part by the Minnesota Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund. Phenology talkbacks are produced by Charlie Mitchell. And our first report comes from Lindsay Engel's class at North Star Elementary School in Virginia.
This is Timey and Brenna with the report from North Star Elementary on September 12, 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Latimer, for visiting our school on Monday, September 8th. While you were here, you tasted a berry and promised to let us know if you were having any gastrointestinal effects from the berry. So, how has your tummy been feeling? We hope you are very well.
Notice that the leaves of the red maple trees in our schoolyard were already very red on September 8th.
By September 10th, the apples from the tree in Ella's yard were ripening and falling to the ground. It was really foggy on our way to school on September 10th. In the fall, the northern latitudes, Earth experienced radial cooling due to the longer nights, which can lead to fog.
The sun came out that afternoon, and the temperature got up to 70 degrees.
Wasps seem to be everywhere right now. We have seen so many on the playground, one on a school bus, and even some on the football field. The workers, males, and the old queen will die off this fall. Only the new queen will overwinter. Right now they are getting aggressive as they search for food outside their nests and begin defending the new queen's overwintering site.
Many spiders are also becoming more active and noticeable in the fall as temperatures drop.
Geese near Minnesota North College in Virginia are flocking up and preparing to migrate.
This has been a report from North Star Elementary in Virginia.
Keep exploring the great outdoors.
Thank you, Timey and Brenna. Nice report. Great notes there. The fact that I'm still on the air, I guess, is testament to the fact that the berries were not poisonous. I caution children about eating things. I say that we should do our phenology engaging four of our five senses and leave taste out of it. But occasionally we come across a little red berry, and I will crush it and then taste the juice on my fingertip, and I will caution the children that, that's not, you never want to go in and just eat a handful of berries if you discover them, because they may or may not be good for you. Most of those berries carry some chemistry that helps them to pass through you in a hurry. So if you fancy the idea of sort of a gastrointestinal upset and the resulting time spent away from your friends and in the bathroom, why, crush a berry and see how it tastes. Our next report comes from Allison Ofterheide's class at Cherry School near Iron Junction.
Hi, this is
Michael,
Clara, Walker, Natalie, reporting from Cherry School in Cherry, Minnesota on September 15th, 2025. In the past week, we have been noticing signs of fall, including cooler temperatures. Some classmates have noticed frost in the morning. On September 7th, Miss Carey saw a goose flying in a V formation above Hiving. On September 6th, Henry saw a mama bear and a large cub climbing up a tree.
Many students have noticed leaves changing colors. On September 5th, Lily noticed trees changing colors. One maple tree near Zim was 100% red. On September 9th, Kaden noticed a tree with about 5 branches that had turned orange near Cherry. On September 4th, Silas noticed crunchy leaves on the ground in Forbes.
We are also seeing a lot of deer and are noticing changes in their appearances. On September 9th, Anthony noticed a doe and a fawn near Cherry. The fawn had white spots. On September 7th, Nova noticed 3 deer near Hibbing. One was smaller but did not have spots.
On Monday, John Latimer joined our classes for a walk in the school forest. We found a blue aster and flat-topped aster growing in the bush. We also found a lot of wood frogs. Most of them were small and probably born earlier this year. We also found a couple gray tree frogs in the speckled alder bush. And we found one spring peeper in the grass near the football field. That concludes our phenology report. This has been
Michael,
Clara,
Walker,
and Natalie reporting from Cherry School.
Nature rules!
Thank you, Michael, Clara Walker, and Natalie. Great report. Wonderful observations. Some geese heading south. Mama bear and a large cub. Lots of trees starting to change colors. You're probably noticing that yourselves. We did have an unusual day in that we kept discovering more and more little frogs. There's this little wetland right behind the Cherry School, and there were, I couldn't even estimate, but we caught probably 4 or 5 1-inch long wood frogs, and then we caught a couple of gray tree frogs that were also about 1 inch long, and then we caught a spring peeper, which was 1 inch long, but spring peepers are only 1 inch long when they're full grown, so we couldn't estimate the age of that one, but the others were brand spanking new frogs for this year, and they'll be heading out into the woods to find a spot to spend the winter, and we'll be waiting for them to begin to sing again in the fall. Can't wait for that to happen. Our next report comes from Colin Cody's class at East Elementary School in Grand Rapids.
Hello. September 9th was a great day for a walk. We found a gull and examined spruce, white, and red pine needles. We also saw moths, grasshoppers, and an active honeybee. Lastly, we came upon a ton of acorns. Mr. Latimer told us it's a massed year. All for now, Mr. C's class.
Thank you. That was Elsie. Elsie, nice job. And yeah, it was a great day for a walk. We did see seagulls or herring gulls, ring-billed gulls, spruce and white pine needles. Both are evergreens. One is a pine and one is not. And the children are learning the difference. We saw moths, grasshoppers, active honeybees, and there were lots and lots of acorns, which is the case. This has been a really productive year for the oaks. Both red oaks and white oaks built huge supplies, reserves of acorns, and they were all over the countryside. Our next report comes from Homeschool Fall Survival Camp at Long Lake Conservation Center near Palisade.
Hello, this is Severin from Homeschool Survival Camp at Long Lake Conservation Center from September 8th through the 10th. Naturalist Julia's report from the lake edge was that the bladderwort were blooming. There were many large, not quite ripe cranberries and chokeberry fruits. Here are some of the things that we noticed. Maples and ferns are changing color, loud blue jays, lots of wasps on the lily pads while we were canoeing, woolly bear caterpillars, a doe with twin fawns, the fawns still have spots, turkey families walking around campus, the winter berries are fruiting, fireflies at night, evening primrose are in bloom. We had a great time in nature, and we want to remind everyone to unplug, get outside, and live connected.
Thank you, Severin. That was a great report. I have not seen any fireflies in the last month, so I'm really surprised that they found some fireflies down at Long Lake. Winterberry, that would be northern holly. They are definitely in fruit. If you're out poking around, keep your eye out for those bright red berries. They're hanging everywhere. It always amazes me this time of year because the winterberry, the northern holly, doesn't really jump out at you when it's just there in the woods. You don't really notice it. But this time of year, they're just covered in these red berries, and so they're pretty easy to spot. I was out for a hike yesterday and came across several that just caught me by surprise. I mean, I was like, whoa, I didn't know they were here. I've seen them over there, but I had no idea they were growing here as well. So keep your eye out while you're doing your business outside. Our next report comes from Chad Caddett's class at Little Falls Middle School.
This is Aiden and Riley reporting from Little Falls Middle School. This is our phenology report for the week of September 14th.
We have started seeing large groups of sandhill cranes in fields, and the great blue herons are still hanging around the shorelines of lakes and ponds.
There are more and more woolly bear caterpillars being sighted, and this number should increase as their food starts to disappear and force them to travel a greater distance.
There are also repeated sightings of tussock moth caterpillars.
The maples are starting to change colors and are probably around 35% change right now.
A classmate spotted a bottled gentian in bloom, which seems a little early, but we also saw some spotted jewelweed flowers, which seem a little late.
There are noticeable holes left in our yard, likely made by skunks searching for grubs at night.
The wasps and hornets have been feeding on apples that have fallen from trees.
There are a large flock of white pelicans circling around the river, which is typically a sight we have in the springtime.
Two unique-looking creatures we spotted this week were the pelicinid wasps and the pigeon horntail wood wasp. Although they were both intimidating, both are fairly harmless.
Someone found a firefly larva, which is strange-looking armored insect, quite different from a lightning bug we were seeing this summer.
One student came across a large bull snake on a sunny afternoon last week.
There are still several species of aster blooming. The easiest to identify is the large leaf aster, as it has two extremely large leaves near the ground.
The craziest find this week was a group of raccoons crawling up and down the peak of a barn.
Open fields and gravel roads are teeming with Carolina grasshoppers this week.
Red admiral butterflies and monarchs are still around and preparing for their annual migration. We did notice that more of half of the monarch's chrysalises that we are monitoring did not survive.
That is our report from this week. Until next week, keep exploring, keep discovering, and keep connecting with the great outdoors.
Aiden, Riley, thank you. What a great report. You guys, you don't realize it. You're too caught up in the very moment, but your teacher, Mr. Cadets, is an incredible source for great phenology, and it shows in your reports. My goodness, sandhill cranes, great blue herons, woolly bear caterpillars, tussock moth caterpillars. The tussock moth caterpillars, and there are several, but most of them have some long yellow hairs, some long black hairs. They might have some white spikes of hair at each end, but like the woolly bear, they're quite hairy little caterpillars. And like the woolly bear, they'll be pretty active throughout the fall and into winter. Sometimes we'll see them. I have observations of those in February and March when it warms up, so don't be afraid of them. They're quite interesting to check out. Spotted jewelweed. I saw some of those blooming bottled gentians. Those are lovely, and I wish I saw them more often. The skunks are definitely feeding on grubs in the yards. White pelicans circling around the river. And the two wasps that they mentioned they're great long wasps with long, they're ovipositors. They're not stingers. These are not the kinds of wasps that sting. But if they touch that little egg-laying device to the right material, they'll leave an egg behind. Lightning bugs, the grub, the larvae of the firefly, interesting little critter. And one that's worth chasing down if you get the chance. They are quite amazing. Thanks again, Aiden and Riley, for that great report. And our final student report this week comes from Michelle Martin's class at Prairie Creek Community School in Northfield.
Hi, this is Ellen.
And this is Sahil.
And we're back from Prairie Creek Community School, way down south in Northfield, Minnesota.
First things first, Ellen, it is hot down here.
That's true. We're wondering how it will affect the season change.
So far, it's been a busy season for birds.
We're hearing a lot of blue jay calls, but not the pump handle.
Several people have seen sandhill cranes. There are a ton of goldfinches on the cup flowers.
There's been a hummingbird sighting, and we're still seeing herons.
There was also a large group of wild turkeys crossing the road.
And Oscar reported a yellow cardinal, which is very rare.
I know something that isn't rare: mosquitoes.
The diurnal mosquitoes are out right now, too.
Hopefully all the green darner dragonflies we are seeing will eat them up.
Last year, we saw close to 100 in our field, but that hasn't happened yet this year.
In other animal news, we're still seeing fireflies and still hearing frogs.
The bucks are getting antlers, and there was a skunk sighting.
There's a lot of goldenrod. The stomach is turning red, and the wild cucumber is starting to turn yellow.
Many of the maple trees are in full color. They're bright red.
A few of the branches of the ash trees are also turning. They're yellow.
Sadly, a lot of the ashes down here are dead or infested with emerald ash borer. Luckily, we're treating the ashes on our playground to keep the bugs away. This has been Prairie Creek.
One more step along the phenology journey.
Thank you, Sahil and Ellen. That was beautiful, and what a nice report. What a lot of things going on down there. Blue jays making some racket, sandhill cranes, goldfinches, herons, still some hummingbirds down there. I'd be really paying attention to find out when they see their last hummingbird. Wild turkeys, boy, they're used to be rare, but now they are even here in the Grand Rapids area. A yellow cardinal. Wow, that would be astonishing to see. I've not seen a yellow cardinal, but and probably with good reason. Kids say very rare, so luck on you for seeing one. That's pretty special. Mosquitoes, yeah, we've still got a few up here. Green darner dragonflies. Thank you, Kayla, for the note from Fort Ripley. Obviously, the green darners and the mosquitoes are teaming up to feed as they migrate. They mentioned that they had seen close to 100 in their field last year, but so far that hasn't happened. I would expect that they will probably in the next week or two pass that along. And they are still seeing fireflies. So maybe it's just my fireflies at my house that are working the early shift. Down in Palisade, they had firefly sightings, and here in Northfield, they have firefly sightings. So that is wonderful. And still hearing frogs. Now, typically this time of year, the frog that I hear is the gray tree frog. And I know because I've been out bow hunting for deer, and I had one sitting behind me in a tree, and he called from the same spot for over an hour before I figured out that's not a bird. That's got to be something else because he hasn't moved. That's when it occurred to me that it was a tree frog. So listen for those. There's always a few that I don't know if they get fooled by the day length or the temperature or what, but all of a sudden they get into a kind of a frenzy here at the end of the season. Bucks are getting their antlers and lots of skunks along. Jennifer told me this morning that she'd gone down to the cities over the weekend and saw a lot of dead skunks along the road. And that is what happens this time of year. The skunk mamas are kicking the skunk babies out and saying, go find your own life. Good luck and goodbye. And some of those little skunks, you know, they find the roads warm and easy traveling, nice and soft on the feet, and then a car comes along and bang, you're not a skunk anymore, you're roadkill. So too bad, but that's just how it goes. Lots of goldenrod blooming down in the Northfield area. Sumac is turning red. There's some beautiful sumac up here that is red. Wild cucumber is starting to turn yellow. I see the wild cucumber out the window here at the radio station, and it is just now in flower. So big, I think it's 5-petaled white flowers that festoon those vines as they climb up and drape themselves over anything that grows nearby. Check that out too. Maples are in full color. Ash are turning is as well. They turn yellow. They have a real problem with the emerald ash borer down in Northfield, one that hasn't gotten to Grand Rapids yet, but is very close. Reamer, I think, is the last I heard. The emerald ash borer was that close, so it will only be a matter of time. And thank you, as I mentioned, Ellen and Sahil, for that wonderful report from Northfield, Minnesota. Always glad to get that. And then we received a question from a curious person in Ontario, and they wondered if you can tell how old moose beard lichen is by the length of the strands. Now, the moose beard lichen is one that belongs to, I think, to the Usnea group, which is that sort of Spanish moss, like, hang down kind of lichen. And I don't know at all. I have no idea, but I do know some people I can check with to find out. And I will try and get you an answer as to whether or not you can tell. I would assume that the older the lichen, the longer the beard. It just seems to follow, but I don't know that for a fact. I did see this past week a lichen orb-weaving spider, and she was gorgeous. She had this big blaze on her back of her abdomen that looked exactly like a little scab of lichen, and her body was kind of dark, mottled gray. You could see her crouching against the trunk of a white spruce or a black spruce, and all of her enemies would fly right on by and not know her at all. We will check and see what we can find out about moose beard lichen and whether or not you can tell how old it is by how long it is. Our final note this week comes from our friend Don Leon, who says something about leopard frogs. Leopard frogs are found in much of Canada and the United States. In recent decades, their populations have been declining. Female northern leopard frogs lay their eggs in the spring, typically in shallow, relatively quiet waters. Tadpoles emerge from the eggs in a few weeks and begin feeding on algae, aquatic vegetation, and other organic matter. In a few months, tadpoles surviving the hazards of being a tadpole will metamorphose into juvenile frogs. It will take about 2 years for them to reach maturity. As juveniles, they will begin a new phase in their lives, spending time in both aquatic and terrestrial environments, preying on invertebrates to include insects, spiders, and worms. Northern leopard frogs typically are green or brown in color, having an abundance of dark spots, and are exceptionally well camouflaged. In addition, their excellent field of vision provides them an early warning of potential predators. These adaptations help them survive. They may live for 5 years or longer in the wild. They survive winters by hibernating in well-oxygenated waters deep enough to prevent freezing. During hibernation, they breathe through their skin, taking in oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide. They will emerge from hibernation in the spring, and adult males will soon begin their chorus. That will happen later on in April, maybe the early part of May. Typically, we have wood frogs, spring peepers, and boreal chorus frogs all singing before we hear the leopard frog. Thanks, Don, for that note on leopard frogs. Always good to have you folks sending in stuff that we can use to inform our listeners about the world that they live in, which is the object of Tuesday's programming.